Hi, my name's Janine and I'm studying a Masters in Social Innovation at Cambridge University. The reason I've sort of come to study in that field is that I work as an angel investor with a number of startups, and one of my startups in particular is in the education field. That's Crimson Education. So we assist students to get into top universities in the world. And really with my work with the young people at Crimson and living in London, I'm a New Zealander but I am living in London, I thought, well, I might have a go at trying at one of these top universities as well. The actual program that I'm doing, it's only in its second year, you know, from the point of view of looking at the world's wicked problems, which are things like poverty, disease, and inequality in education, which is the particular area that I'm looking in.
Will you take part in my life, my love? That is my dream. Life is not a dream, it's what you make it. Always try to give.
So what is the Masters in Social Innovation?
It's a fairly new program at the University of Cambridge. So it basically looks at sort of what's called wicked problems, so big problems in the world and how we can come up with some innovative solutions to overcome them. So it's things like poverty and hunger, disease, and then from my point of view also things like equality in education, so how do we level the playing field. In the first year is sort of more your theoretical foundation year. So we have 4 modules and every 2 weeks a new module within that module gets released. So effectively 16 modules overall in that first year. And then after that 8-week period we have the residential week. So it's sort of structured learning through a virtual learning environment, and then from there we have the residential week, and then after that there's about a 1-month period during which time we complete our assessment for that module. So first year is structured sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last module is on research methods and research methodology. You know, I finished my undergrad degree in 1988, which of course is a long time ago, and then in 1999 I finished my MBA, so sort of probably 10, 11 years on from that I did do another sort of learning exercise which I think broadens you out as an individual in your career progression. So really I wanted to do something that was outside of my comfort zone, learning something new and also that I could apply in my work. So in that regard, you know, social innovation, having impact in the world, making changes, but because I primarily work with young people that are trying to change the world, if I can approach that from a more academic level, that means that, you know, I can be useful, more useful in imparting that knowledge to other people.
You do work with the New Zealand Business Women's Network. Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, you know, lots of Kiwis always come to the UK, Australians as well, and it's one of those things, it's sort of like a home away from home. So first Monday of every month there's a sort of a social meeting and then lots of events also around that. So there's lots of activities and also, you know, things to help people and develop them in their careers. So that's where their mentor program comes in, and that they run a formal program for a lot of different things.
And sort of how do you balance both now coursework and sort of mentorship and investing, all of that? Sort of how do you balance it all?
When you grow up with having lots of kids and lots of their friends around, you know, that does demand quite a large proportion of your time. So now that we've sort of come back for this second OE, you know, we've got a lot of, you know, there's a lot less people in the house is a lot smaller.
Sure.
And so really I have got a whole lot of spare time that I didn't have before.
Right, you're not dealing with 4 kids now.
No,
Sure.
no, so I think in that regard, you know, I am an early riser. I've always been fairly productive, I think, in what I do, and because I love what I'm doing, I don't sort of watch the clock or say that, wow, you know, my days are so full. So it's one of those things. It's about how you use your time, how you look at it, how you plan your week, and you can fit everything in if you organise yourself well.
Right.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's thinking about maybe returning to school after not having been at school, wanting to sort of get a new type of degree?
Preparation is the key. So really, I spent quite a bit of time looking at what was available and what might be a field that sort of matched my interests and something that would be new learning for me as well, as opposed to being something that I was entirely comfortable with.
Were you finding similar programs to the Cambridge Masters in Innovation program elsewhere, or is it pretty unique?
It's a fairly new field of study. So yes, there are other universities that offer something similar. The Cambridge one, I think, sort of although it's fairly new, I think in a way it's quite nice to be, at the start of something new, as opposed to something that, sort of becomes more generic as time goes by. So this particular program, we are the second cohort. There's been a lot of interaction with the first cohort to decide the best way to structure the program going forward. So it's sort of a moving, growing, learning sort of opportunity for everybody. The thing that surprised me was sort of just the vast breadth of the people that had been, admitted to my cohort. So, they are so broad from so many different, types of organisations, from sort of big corporate right down to, on the ground charities and NGOs working in very difficult countries, and sort of everyone in between there. If we've got people that are, on the ground in Iraq, working with political prisoners, or neurosurgeons in hospital, people working with the homeless, all sorts of things, that when you get that perspective, it's all coming from a base of people that care about the world. And so it's quite collaborative, and everybody's saying, there are lots of different models for doing things, and so there's been quite a lot of sharing with the people in the cohort about their jobs, their experiences, the difficulties they're having in making impactful change, and often good solutions can be found within the group. If you like this video and would like to learn more about postgrad programs and top international universities, please subscribe.